Welcome back to the Love You Sew Spring Roll Pouch Sew Along. This week we will go through steps 14 to 28 in the pattern, which include making the interior options and assembling the lining. There are 3 different options for pockets and 1 for elastic slots. You get to choose up to 2 out of the 4 of these options for the front and back of the pouch. You can also leave them off altogether for a streamlined version. You get to choose exactly how you want the pouch to be. Make sure to cut the corresponding pattern pieces you would like, interface them, and gather the supplies based on your selection. Let's start off with the slip pocket, which is the most basic out of the pockets. If desired, you will need a set of snaps, 12.5 millimeters or smaller, plus any setting tools. Place both of your pattern pieces right sides together and pin at the top. Sew across with a 1/4 inch seam allowance, then flip right sides out. Press well with the wrong sides together and then top stitch along the folded edge. Next, sew the slip pocket to a front or back pattern piece with right sides facing up. In this case, the slip pocket will be on the front. You can label the interfacing to not be confused later on. At this point, you can sew a vertical seam to divide the slip pocket or add the snap if desired. Next up is the elastic pocket. For this option, you will need an additional 10-inch length of 1/4 inch wide elastic. Fold the pattern piece for the elastic pocket in half lengthwise and finger press the fold. Sew a 3/8 inch casing along the entire fold. Change your stitching over to your longest length and baste along the bottom raw seam through all layers. Make sure to leave long thread tails. Now grab your 1/4 inch elastic and attach a safety pin to the end or use another threading device. Of course, I have some threading devices somewhere else, but couldn't find them in time for this video, so I'm using a safety pin. You fish the elastic through the casing and make sure to secure the ends in place by sewing or pinning. Right now I'm pinning for a little shortcut. Then grab the basting stitches, the top one in one hand, and push the fabric toward the center with your other hand to gather. Now here's the back, and since I forgot to mark it, I'm just folding it over in half to find the center. Then line up the center of the elastic pocket, pin in place. Then match up the bottom corners and pin those into place. Evenly distribute the gathers between pins. Sew the bottom 3 edges together with a 1/8 inch seam allowance, backstitching well over the elastic. This pocket, I'm sewing a dividing seam. Luckily, I centered the fabric print when cutting, so I can easily follow the fabric to stay centered. You can also see a little bit of the chalk marking as well. Now we'll work on the flat zipper pocket. For this option, you will need a 6-inch nylon zipper with 1 pull. Please make sure to prep it just like all the other zippers in step 5 of the instructions to singe and sew the ends. Since this wasn't chosen for the pouch I'm making throughout the sew along, you can see that I'm also using different fabric to show you the steps. The zipper facing right side up, use 2 zipper tabs right sides together to sandwich one of the ends and then sew to attach. If you don't like the bulk, you can notch out the corners. Then flip the tabs wrong sides together and top stitch into place. Repeat with the other side of the zipper and remaining zipper tabs. I'm straying from the instructions a little bit here by taking the exterior lower part of the flat zipper pocket pattern piece and laying it right side facing up first. Then lay the zipper down right sides together and then the interior lower zipper pocket on top, right sides together. Sew through all layers. Flip the lower part of the pocket right side out and press well. Top stitch along the zipper. Repeat all of these steps with the upper parts of the flat zipper pocket. Baste around all 4 sides of the flat zipper pocket. Then lay the pocket on top of the front or back pattern piece and then sew together on all 4 sides. Trim to fit the front or back if needed. Finally, we have the elastic slot option. This was another option not in the sew along pouch I'm currently making and will be made in a different fabric. For this option, you'll need 2 pieces of 6-inch elastic 1/2 to 1 inch wide. I'm using 1 inch wide elastic. You take your 2 pieces of elastic and mark them equally into 4 sections. I'm a folder, so this is my preferred method over breaking out the ruler. On the front and back piece, make 2 vertical lines 1 1/2 inch from center to make them 3 inches apart altogether. Then divide these lines equally into 4 sections and mark. Again, I'm a folder and I like to just make creases to divide evenly and then run my chalk pencil over the edges so you can see. Now grab your elastic and align each piece of elastic to the outside of your vertical lines towards the sides. Then match up each elastic marking to your line segment markings on the front or back, making little hills with the elastic. So at the bottom and top edge of each elastic 1/8 inch from the edge and along every elastic marking. Make sure to backstitch well since these will be high stress spots. When sewing slots like this, I don't cut my thread in between. I just lift my presser foot and start sewing again. Once finished, I'll cut all the threads at once to save time. Inspect your work, and now it's time to assemble the lining. With your selected options, lay out your front and back with the divider pocket in between. I've already pinned my layout into place with my slip pocket front on top and my elastic pocket back at the bottom. Make sure you sew in between those dots again. Leave a 5-inch gap to turn out the pouch later on, then press all seam allowances toward the divider pocket. Let's add the gusset and wings. Take 1 gusset and align the raw edge to the front right sides together. Float it just above the base seam. Then take a wing and place it on top of the gusset, again right sides together with edges aligned. The top of the wing is flat and doesn't have that additional cutaway. The dot marking should sit right on top of the base seam. And I'm gonna add it right in since I forgot before. Sew from the edge, making sure to stop at that dot. This is going to be our Y seam and it's very important you stop at the blue dot as shown. The front panel and the remaining gusset. And this is all steps 26 in your instructions. Press all of these seams open. This is what it looks like from the wrong side. Right side's facing up, flip the gusset over to the pocket and top stitch 1/8 inch from the gusset seam through the seam allowance, stopping at the dot. Then flip the gusset toward the wing and repeat the top stitching on the other side of the gusset, stopping at the base seam. Repeat the top stitching on the other side of the front panel and gusset. Remember to turn the pouch around 180 degrees and repeat steps 26 to 27 with the other sides of the gusset and remaining wings. Then head to part 3 to add the main zipper and to close the pouch.